Hello all, welcome back to DannyBTalks. The NASCAR season has officially started after the 2025 Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. The return to this historic venue gave us lots to be happy about. In my opinion, it gave us the same style of racing that we got in Southern California the last few years without having to waste resources building a temporary track that will be removed later on. It also allowed us to see some of our favorite teams and teams with smaller budgets able to compete without having to start with high initial costs to travel all the way to Southern California for a race that some didn't even make the main event. First though, let's talk about this historic setting. Bowman Gray Stadium. It's not your typical NASCAR track. This place is known as the Madhouse, and for good reason. It's a tight quarter-mile oval that brings racing back to its roots, with a vibe that you can't get anywhere else, and this year, it didn't disappoint. On to the race itself. Chase Elliott. Man, what a performance. He started on the pole after dominating his heat race, and he didn't let go of that lead. Elliott led 171 out of 200 laps in this main event to take home his first ever win in the Clash. It truly felt like he was in control the entire time, despite hard charges by others like Denny Hamlin, who led for 28 laps and gave Elliott a run for his money. And I can't forget the performance by Ryan Blaney. He pulled off the track in the last chance qualifying race, but he was safe for the main show due to his provisional of being second in the 2024 championship race to teammate Joey Logano, and he would rally from the very back to finish second to Chase Elliott. Penske in general showed us that they're still good with these flat tracks this season, with Blaney, Logano, and Austin Cindric finishing 2nd, 4th, and 7th respectively. One more name to point out, SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, driving that beautiful new Trackhouse number 88, came home 9th in his first ever race full-time for the team in the Cup Series, having little to no experience on a track like Bowman Gray. And I had actually picked him as my driver to suck this week on NWP, so he definitely proved me wrong. The format this year was fairly similar to what we have seen in the past few seasons at the LA Memorial Coliseum. We had 4 heat races on Saturday night where the top 5 from each race moved on to the main event. The rest battled it out in the last chance qualifier on Sunday before the main show for those last 2 spots. It was all about who could handle the pressure and the unique challenges of both the racing at Bowman Gray and their tempers. Heat 1 and the last chance qualifying race were definitely the most chaotic of the weekend, and Ty Gibbs and Justin Haley definitely proved that these cars got hops. Yes indeed, this unique short track brought out some real old school racing this weekend. There were cautions, plenty of challenging restarts, and some aggressive moves throughout the 2 nights. And let's not forget the local flavor. The modified division's Cookout Madhouse Classic added in to the excitement of this weekend. What made this clash special was not just the racing, but the entire community around it. The stands were packed the entire weekend, and I believe the number was around 40% of ticket allotment was reserved for locals in the area who deserved to see this show at their local track. But even then, the other 60% of the stands featured fans from, I want to say, 44 different states out of the 50 in America. And those locals, when Burt Myers' night was over after spinning out the front bumper of Ricky Stenhouse, they let Stenhouse see their displeasure. That's their guy, and they didn't like to see his day end that way. NASCAR fans certainly got a unique show to start the year, and even though there were some hiccups with the broadcast, thanks as always, Fox. The atmosphere there seemed very nostalgic and electric. You could truly see the history of racing this weekend, and I'm sure racing fans of all kinds, both locally there in Winston-Salem and far and wide, appreciate all the efforts put forward by NASCAR to revive and renovate this venue to NASCAR standards with safer barrier walls. This event, if it did anything at all, gifted the Madhouse of a brighter future, I believe. And in an era where we hear of local short tracks having to close their doors each year, we can truly appreciate efforts made to preserve new ones each year. Chase Elliott's win at Bowman Gray could perhaps even be a great sign of things to come for the sport's most popular driver this season. This weekend he showed how comfortable he can be behind the wheel with a dominant car for an entire race from start to finish. For the rest of the field, better luck next year, but as of now, the 9 team has to feel good about their outlook for flat tracks and short tracks this season. This style of racing really helps separate the men from the boys, and quite frankly, from Logano in 2022 to Truex in 23, and even Hamlin last year, we've seen the Clash winners at the short track in LA go on to great things throughout the season. To win a championship over the last 3 years, we've also seen that your flat track game needs to be on point. And we saw who could adapt to that this weekend early and who might need to work on their short track and flat track game as the season progresses. With that said, even though they didn't get the win, seeing how Penske did as a whole, I still expect them to be contending this season on the short and flat tracks as well. Looking forward to the rest of the year, it's just so exciting that the 2025 season has finally begun. While we don't know if the Clash will return to Bowman Gray next season yet, with rumors of NASCAR looking to take the event globally next season to Brazil, this year's venue certainly put on a show worthy of another look in my opinion. But being able to move this event around in the future is also something I'd be open for NASCAR to consider. It keeps teams and fans guessing as to what's next, and that's part of what makes NASCAR interesting. But if you ask me, bringing the Clash to more local and historic places like Bowman Gray connects us back to the grassroots of the sport, and that's something special in and of itself. That's all for me after the 2025 Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and drop a comment with your thoughts on this race or give me your predictions for the upcoming Daytona 500 here soon, and also the season thereafter. We'll see you Wednesday night right here on DannyBTalks for NWP for the first time this season on my channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you're there, and until next time, I hope you have a great day. Bye guys.